5 on the Christmas countdown here at Cardiff City World. I'm Si, this is Matt, that's RDE, and we're getting into the final 5. The chart is coming to an end. It's almost a bit sad because we haven't spent the last several hours recording all these videos back to back at all. We've done them one at a time each day. But anyway, number 5, Roger Johnson was sold by Cardiff City for 5 million. What a deal. Rhys, how much did we buy Roger Johnson for?
£275,000 from Wycombe Wanderers.
Go on.
Absolute bargain, you'd have asked me looking back.
And to make it even sweeter, Swansea bid 100,000 and it was rejected. They couldn't afford him.
Couldn't afford him. They couldn't sell enough caravans, could they?
No.
So,
but then, I tell you what, right? Roger Johnson, what a player, mate. What a player. He,
for a central defender, he had something about him as well, didn't he? He was good on the ball. But yeah, really strong player for us.
I think looking back as well, at the time, we were a championship side, and you hear the club is buying a League Two defender on the cheap as well. You're probably thinking, hang on, is this just cover, is it? Or, But to be fair, he came in, and it looked like he'd been playing championship level all his career. He was a tall lad, big lumper. He could move about a bit. Next to Purse as well. He was just a brilliant partnership. And then when Glenn came in as well, Bluebirds, them two linked up. He was just a well-rounded centre half. He could head the ball, get stuck in, he could run with it. Ahead of his time, really, I think, for Cardiff. And another one who was probably too good for us after the year or two.
Yeah, we had a few of them over the years, like players who we've picked up for whatever reason, lower leagues, or they've had issues at other clubs, or whatever it may be, and they've just been, too good for us, really. I mean, when you look at it, like Roger Johnson, Glenn Lewins, and Darren Purse, like, that's 3 wicked centre-backs, isn't it, for like a championship club. Like with Roger Johnson, he's someone I really would like to get on, like, for a live event. I think that'd be wicked, and it's something I'm working on. Ironically, we've already done one with Darren Purse, and by the time this goes out, who knows about Glenn Lewins. But anyway, Roger Johnson made 183 appearances for Cardiff City. He scored 22 goals. I just remember him, like, my memory's rubbish, but I just remember him being very, very good on the ball. Like one of them Rolls Royce type defenders who just seems like they got all the time in the world, just drop a shoulder, send a striker for a bag of chips, and just play. Another one actually who would fit in today's football really well. He never quite went on to achieve what I thought he would in terms of, don't get me wrong, had a great career and the rest of it. But I thought he would end up in, regular sort of mid to top Premier League team. But he sort of had a little stint, didn't he, in the Premier League? And
did he struggle with injury after he left us?
Well, he went to Birmingham and then he followed on with Wolves, and he was captain of Wolves, but I'm pretty sure there was some off-the-field issues with him there, which kind of led to his downfall then. But I know he had serious knee injuries late in his career because he had operations. But at the time, you're thinking, Birmingham, he could have gone a lot higher than that. I think we're all disappointed. There were certain stories and rumours at the time why he went to Birmingham and why he chose them. Hopefully none of them were true, and it was literally a career choice for him. But a player like that, you do think, if you're going to sell to a higher standard club in Birmingham, or your club at the time, let's be honest.
Yeah, there was a point, he was linked with Man United at one point, I remember. But there was that scary incident in, I don't know what year it was, against Crystal Palace when Curtis Davis caught him in the throat with his forearm or his elbow, and he had breathing difficulties and all that. That was quite freaky, a freaky thing. And you could see, I always think in those types of injuries, you can always tell if the injury's real or serious by the reaction of the teammates.
Yeah.
And I just remember they all looked quite concerned, whereas if a player's making the most of it, they'll be getting a drink and they'll having a chat. But yeah, Roger Johnson, mate, quality footballer.
Another one we've been blessed for some reason over the last 10, 20 years. And we've been blessed really with strong centre back partnerships. And I think you look back at James Collins, Gabardon, Chambers and Goutas now, but obviously we've got Darland and Fish to come in as well. Just to name it.
We had Ben Turner and Mark Hudson. You had obviously
Solomon Morrison.
Yeah, Glenn Lewins and Darren Purse. Glenn Lewins, Roger Johnson. Darren Purse, Roger Johnson. There was Gabs and James Collins, as you mentioned. The list is endless. The list is endless. I got to say though, right, with Roger Johnson, and actually just going back to the live events, I do like the idea, and it's something I've discussed with Aaron, is maybe doing like some midfield defensive partnerships. So instead of doing one guest, like have Ben Turner and Mark Hudson together, or Chopra and Jay Bothroyd together, or whoever it may be, like Stephen McPhail and Gavin Ray, or just something like that. And I think having a bit of a mix and hearing them bounce off each other, those stories could be wicked. I'd like to do a David Marshall and Kevin McNaughton. I think would be a cracker, absolute belter. But David Marshall never replies to my texts.
The live events are brilliant. I think the last couple we've had at Splot Cons Club, and to be up close and personal to our heroes at the end of the day, growing up watching Cardiff, to be able to sit down and listen to them open and honest, it is a really good night. It's well run. So do have a look when tickets and announcements do get made. They do go quickly. So
they're so personal as well. I've done plenty of other live events where the guest is, so far on stage, you can't approach them, can't talk to them. You've got to listen to their stories. With these ones. Literally, you can have a photo of the player, have a chat with him, talk about the bar, they walk around, they just interact with you, and it's so much more personal.
And for a smidgen of the price of the tickets of these events,
yeah,
as well. And that was the aim. The aim when we were to kind of put them together and working out what we wanted to do. We wanted it to be intimate. Initially, I was going to keep a cap them at like 50 people, to come and watch, because I didn't want to. I wanted to keep that intimacy and stuff. But I think we've taken them up obviously a bit more now. And the last couple have been about 100, 150. I don't think we'll go much more than that. There might be the odd one where we say 200 or whatever, depending on who the guests are. I was fortunate enough to be able to, I get Craig Bellamy 2 weeks after he had the Wales job. This is mad. But back on Roger Johnson, where do you rate him in terms of Cardiff's centre-backs? Is he like at that legendary status me and Matt said in the previous video? Darren Pearce, well, actually, it's in the next video in the future.
I think it's a difficult one to pick, really, or to even discuss, because
he's right. Yeah, I'll put it another way. Is he a City legend?
100%.
Oh,
yeah, I would say so.
I think the only thing that question marks him from that to me is longevity. I don't think he was there an awful long time to, like Sean Morrison. I think 8 years at Cardiff. Sean Morrison did. Bamba, I think had 6 years. I can't remember. I don't think Roger was there for that too long.
Reached an FA Cup final.
Yes. I love the
twice player of the year.
I love the player. I absolutely loved Roger. I don't think he has the credit he deserves. Club legend.
3 years, 119 appearances, 12 goals. FA Cup final, player of the year 2 times out of 3.
Yeah.
Sold for 5 million.
Again, it's just that longevity is a question mark. I think if he spent the 5-6 years of the club, hands down, be a club legend, probably one of the best centre backs we've ever seen. I just don't think we got to see the best of him either. I think he got better as he got older. Okay. I think.
Here's a question for you, mate. In that, where's the line? So he did 3 years with us. That's not good enough for you to be considered a legend. So where's the line between 3 years and 5 years and 4 years?
I don't think it's just that. I think the last season he had as well, there was a lot of rumours going around that he wanted out the club. He was having transfer requests, stuff like that, and that does sour
the memory a bit, doesn't it? Yeah, no, I accept that.
I mean, like I said, if he had 5 years less, he was getting better and better. I mean, if he had 5 years less, we'd all be going, what a player he was. He could have had 30, 40 goals in them 5 years. As a centre-half, I remember the Preston North End game, we won 4-1. And all the news and talk before the game was David Nugent of Preston, tear us apart. He clattered him 3 or 4 times, took him out of the game. Went up to the end and scored a goal. He was unplayable that game. As I said, the half, you don't see that often.
No.
But again, I just think he had all ability, but we didn't see enough of him, I don't think, to warrant him. Yeah, I don't think we can warrant him as, for me personally anyway, but I can see why people say he's a legend.
Christmas is like Scrooge, isn't he? It's a bit harsh.
I do agree.
Yeah,
The word legend gets chucked around a lot easy, which is not easy for me to say as I do events called City Legends. But people fail to realise sometimes that is partially branding, isn't it? You've got to call the event something. So it's like City Legend rather than ex-Cardiff City players, blah, blah, blah. But like for me, with Roger Johnson, I think his best 2 years in football was his final year with us and his first year with Birmingham. After that, at Birmingham, I thought he didn't quite find the heights and form, probably through injuries and stuff like that. But as a footballer, like I just absolute Rolls Royce.
Probably, he probably didn't stand out as much for Birmingham as where he probably would with Cardiff, if that makes sense. With Birmingham being up and down as well in the leagues and struggling maybe in the Premier League.
They were probably Premier League then, weren't they? As well?
Yeah. And to be fair, we played different footballs. And Roger was under Dave Jones, and that was probably the most exciting football we've played for as long as I can remember. I mean, it was
quite direct though, still, wasn't it?
Well, Dave Jones, when he played, it was strange. You set up on paper was a 4-4-2 with a winger, but Witts would be the left wide man. And when on the attack, they go to a 4-3-3, and Witts would sort of drift inside a bit. And he wouldn't operate as a winger, he'd operate as a wide midfielder. I think with
Tony Capaldi bombing up the wing.
Yeah, he would bomb past him there. He would Steve McPhee next to him as well. I mean, that side was some of the best attacking football we've seen. And then, to be fair, Dave Jones was ahead of his time in that regard. I think looking back at Roger Johnson, he was thinking if he stayed for 2 more years, I think he could have gone on to an England cap.
He'd have been a captain. And I agree with you. He wasn't far off. When he was with us, as he went to Birmingham, that sort of period, he was being talked about for that England cap.
Yeah.
Like, same as when Jay got his. And I agree. He wasn't that far off. But, you got to do as a players, and they got to make the decisions, which I guess is whatever's best for them, I suppose, isn't it? But I've heard as well, that, like from Chops and Darren and people, they all say like he's an absolute top bloke, like really nice guy, can't do enough for you sort of thing. I think he had a great relationship with fans, didn't he?
I think a lot of players from that era have all been quite highly spoken of. I think that culture around the club at that time, I think they all got on really well off the field as well as on the field, and I think that's massively important. I know nowadays, I'm not saying they weren't professional back in the day, but I think the players now are trained more like athletes and they're not out drinking. I think it's been well documented and things on previous guests and things that there was a bit of a culture that they still had to go out for a drink, but it worked. And
Kev used to say, didn't he? Like, with Dave Jones, or Chops, it was. Sorry, used to say like with Dave Jones, it was like if you performed, then he'd let you go out on the piss. If you didn't, then you didn't, and you weren't. And that reward system, it sounds like quite childlike almost, doesn't it? Like reward good behaviour, but nobody got a tune out of Chopra and Bothroyd in particular, but also Ross McCormack, really. Nobody got a tune out of them three like Dave Jones did. And like throughout their whole career, nobody. Like Jay Bothroyd was never the same player that he was at Cardiff anywhere else.
Yeah.
So Dave Jones was an interesting character, to say the least. But
you see about the reward thing. Ranieri did in the Premier League, didn't he? Every clean sheet, I'll buy you pizzas. And it sounds childish, but the players, you could see they were throwing the ball on the line. It's a fun reward, but it got them going.
It galvanises that team spirit.
And Dave Jones gets all criticism for his handling the team back then. But I ask any Cardiff fan now, what's your best years of being a Cardiff fan? Dave Jones era.
Yeah,
it was 100%. The best time we had.
So that is number 5. I've been Si, that's been Matt, and that is Mr. RD. It's like a rapper name, isn't it? RDE. But anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in. Number 4 tomorrow. We're really coming down to the last couple, and it's a belter as well, absolute belter, and we definitely haven't recorded it already. As I say, please do subscribe to Cardiff City World. Spread the word, spread the Christmas spirit. Tell all your Cardiff mates. Cardiff City content, 7 days a week. By fans, for fans. And if you're feeling Christmassy, hit that join button. Become a member. Get some additional content. Get rewards. Get to see the...
You can even buy a membership for somebody else for their stocking filler.
There you go. Exactly that. You can gift a membership to someone else. And the best thing is, right, apart from the content and the early access and the discount on merch and all these things you get 24 hours early access to tickets to live events. Now, by the time this goes out, I'd imagine that the last live event of the year has probably been done. You would have missed out if you didn't have early access to that ticket, in my opinion. So there we go. Take care. Merry Christmas. See you tomorrow for number 3. Number 4.